The ugly alien princess stopped being cool when she saw me. I discovered why I saw her blush. Ladder shuttle harmony descended through the purple clouds, surrounding the planet Zephyr Prime. Ambassador Marcus Chen pressed his face against the small window, watching the crystalline spires of the alien capital city grow larger below them. Each tower caught the light from the system's twin suns, sending rainbow reflections across the landscape. First time seeing a Zephyrian city, asked Dr. Sarah Kim, the expedition science officer. She sat across from Marcus, checking her tablet one more time. First time seeing any alien city. Marcus replied with a nervous laugh. Still can't believe they chose me for this job. Dr. Kim smiled. You're perfect for it. The Galactic Council specifically requested a human ambassador who could think on his feet. Your record in Earth's diplomatic corps speaks for itself. Marcus nodded. Though he still felt the weight of responsibility. Today would mark humanity's first formal meeting with the Galactic Council. 57 different alien species would be watching to see if humans deserved a place among them. Stars. The shuttle landed with a soft thud on a platform made of what looked like solid light. Through the window, Marcus could see alien figures waiting to greet them. Some walked on two legs like humans, others floated above the ground, and a few moved on more legs than he could count. Remember, Dr. Kim said as they prepared to leave the shuttle, the Zephyrians value control and logic above all else. Their princess, Vexara, is known throughout the galaxy as the ice strategist. She never shows emotion during negotiations. If we can impress her, we'll have a real chance with the council. Marcus straightened his formal diplomatic uniform and took a deep breath. Right? Stay calm. Be respectful, and don't embarrass the entire human race. No pressure at all. The shuttle door opened with a hiss. Marcus stepped out first, followed by Dr. Kim and the rest of the human delegation. The air on Zephyr Prime tasted different, cleaner somehow, with a slight metallic tang. The gravity felt lighter than Earth's, making each step feel like a small bounce. A tall, thin alien approached them. Its skin was pale blue and completely smooth, and its eyes were large and silver. Welcome to Zephyr Prime, it said in perfect English, though its voice had a musical quality. I am Ambassador Kethril. Princess Vexara awaits you in the Grand Hall. They walked through corridors that seemed to be carved from single pieces of crystal. Strange symbols glowed along the walls, probably Zephyrian writing. Other aliens passed them in the hallways, some nodded politely. Others stared with obvious curiosity. The humans are smaller than I expected. Marcus heard one whisper to another in heavily accented English. But they smell strange, came the reply, very warm. Marcus tried not to let the comments bother him. Every species probably seemed strange to the others when they first met. The Grand Hall was enormous. The ceiling stretched so high that Marcus couldn't see the top, and the walls were made of the same glowing crystal as the corridors. Aliens of every shape and size filled the space, all wearing what looked like formal clothing from their respective cultures. At the far end of the hall, on a raised platform, sat Princess Vexara. Marcus had seen pictures of her in the briefing files, but seeing her in person was different. She was clearly Zephyrian, tall and thin with the same smooth skin as Ambassador Kethril. But unlike other Zephyrians Marcus had seen, her skin wasn't a uniform color. Instead, it was covered in patches of different shades, some darker, some lighter, creating an almost mottled pattern across her face and arms. Dr. Kim had explained that other alien species considered this asymmetry unattractive by galactic standards. But Marcus thought there was something fascinating about the patterns on her skin. They reminded him of abstract art pieces he'd seen in museums back on Earth. Princess Vexara sat perfectly still on her throne, watching the human delegation approach. Her large silver eyes followed their every movement. She wore robes that seemed to be made of liquid metal, and a simple crown that looked like it was carved from a single piece of starlight. Your Highness, Ambassador Kethril announced as they reached the platform. May I present Ambassador Marcus Chen of Earth, representing the human species. Marcus stepped forward and bowed, just as the diplomatic protocol required. Your Highness, it is an honor to meet you. On behalf of all humanity, I thank you for this opportunity to address the Galactic Council. He looked up and met Princess Vexara's eyes. The change was instant and dramatic. The princess's skin, which had been a steady pale color with darker patches, suddenly began to shift. Waves of deep purple and bright blue spread across her face and arms like ripples on water. Her silver eyes widened and her mouth fell open slightly. For several seconds, she just stared at Marcus. The entire hall fell silent. Then Princess Vexara tried to stand up too quickly. Her foot caught in her robes and she stumbled. The stack of important documents on the table beside her throne crashed to the floor, scattering papers everywhere. Excuse me. I must," she stammered, her usual perfect composure completely gone. The colors on her skin continued to shift and change, cycling through shades Marcus had never seen on a Zephyrian before. Without another word, Princess Vexara turned and hurried from the hall, leaving behind a room full of confused aliens and very worried human diplomats. Marcus stood frozen in place, unsure what had just happened. Had he somehow insulted her? Had he broken some kind of Zephyrian protocol? Around the hall, aliens began whispering urgently to each other in their own languages. Marcus caught fragments of translated conversation through his universal translator. "Did you see her skin change? Those colors? I've never seen a Zephyrian display those colors before. This is most unusual. The princess never loses control like that." Ambassador Kethral looked pale. Even for a Zephyrian, he kept glancing between the door where the princess had disappeared and the human delegation. On the other side of the hall, Marcus noticed a large insect-like alien, probably from the Mantid Collective, leaning down to whisper something urgently in the ear of a smaller alien beside him. "This changes everything," the Mantid said, his voice carrying across the suddenly quiet hall. "The humans don't know. Do they know what?" Marcus called out. But the aliens had already started moving away, talking in hushed voices among themselves. Dr. Kim moved closer to Marcus. "Well," she said quietly, "that didn't go exactly as planned." Marcus looked around the hall at all the alien faces staring at him with mixtures of curiosity, concern, and something that might have been fear. "What just happened?" he asked. "What don't we know?" But no one seemed willing to give him an answer. The first day of humanity's introduction to galactic society had taken a very unexpected turn, and Marcus had the feeling that Princess Vexara's strange reaction was just the beginning of a much larger mystery. 3 days had passed since the incident in the Grand Hall, and Marcus still had no idea what had gone wrong. The human delegation had been moved to comfortable quarters in the diplomatic wing of the palace, but they felt more like prisoners than guests. No one would give them straight answers about Princess Vexara's strange behavior. Marcus sat in the small research room they had been given, surrounded by stacks of books, data tablets, and translation devices. Dr. Kim worked beside him, her fingers dancing across a holographic display showing Zephyrian anatomy charts. "Find anything useful?" Marcus asked, rubbing his tired eyes. Dr. Kim frowned at the display. "Maybe. Look at this." She pointed to a diagram showing the Zephyrian skin structure. "See these cells? They're called chromatophores. They control skin color changes in Zephyrians. Like Chameleons back on Earth, similar, but more complex, according to this data. Zephyrian skin color reflects emotional and mental states. Blue usually means calm, green means thinking, red means anger." She paused, scrolling through more information. But Marcus, the colors Princess Vexara showed, those deep purples and bright blues, they're not listed in any of the cultural databases. Marcus leaned forward. "What does that mean? Either the databases are incomplete, or—" Dr. Kim hesitated, "or she was experiencing emotions that Zephyrians don't normally feel." Before Marcus could respond, there was a soft knock on their door. Ambassador Kethral entered, looking even more nervous than usual. "Ambassador Chen," he said formally, "I hope your quarters are comfortable." "They're fine. Thank you," Marcus replied. "But we'd really like to understand what happened with Princess Vexara. Did I somehow offend her?" Kethral's skin shifted. To a pale green, the thinking color, Marcus now knew. No, Ambassador, you did not offend her. But I cannot explain more. The princess has requested time to consider the situation. Consider what situation? Dr. Kim asked. But Kethel was already backing toward the door. Please, enjoy your stay. The council meeting has been postponed until further notice. He left quickly, as if afraid to say more. Marcus and Dr. Kim exchanged worried looks. This is getting stranger by the day, Marcus muttered. Meanwhile, in the highest tower of the palace, Princess Vexara stood at her window, staring out at the city below. Her reflection in the crystal glass showed skin that kept shifting through subtle color changes, something that had never happened to her before. For her entire life, she had been taught that emotions were dangerous. The Zephyrian people had learned this lesson thousands of years ago, when emotional chaos had nearly destroyed their civilization. Control was everything. Logic was safety. Feelings led to disaster. But ever since she had looked into the human ambassador's eyes, something had awakened inside her. Her mind, usually so ordered and calm, felt like a storm of new sensations. Her skin betrayed her constantly, showing colors she didn't understand. Your Highness? Her advisor, an elderly Zephyrian named Murthan, entered the room quietly. You have not eaten in 2 days. The council grows worried. The council grows worried about many things lately. Vexar replied without turning from the window. Tell me, Murthan, what do you know about the ancient texts? The ones from before the Great Suppression? Murthan's skin went very pale. Your Highness, those texts are forbidden. They speak of the dark times, when our people were ruled by chaos and feeling. But they also speak of other things, don't they? Vexara turned to face him. They mention visitors, beings who could awaken what we had suppressed, myths and legends, Your Highness, stories to frighten children. Vexara's skin flickered through those strange new colors again. Then why do I feel this way? Murthan, why does my skin show colors that have no names? Why does the sight of that human make my mind race with thoughts I've never had before? Murthan looked very uncomfortable. Perhaps you should speak with the healers. They might have medicine to help you return to normal. But what if I don't want to return to normal? The words surprised even Vexara as she spoke them. What if this feeling, whatever it is not a sickness, but something we've been missing? Murthan left without answering, but Vexara could see the fear in his skin color as he went. Back in the diplomatic wing, Marcus and Dr. Kim were discovering that their situation had become more complicated than a simple cultural misunderstanding. During their meals in the common dining area, they noticed that other alien delegations were treating them very differently than before. The tall, rock-like beings from the Granite Collective, who had barely acknowledged humans at the original ceremony, now kept trying to sit near them during meals. Ambassador Chen, rumbled one of the granite beings in a voice like grinding stones. My people would be very interested in establishing exclusive trade agreements with Earth. Exclusive? Marcus asked, surprised. But we haven't even joined the council yet. Details. Details? The alien waved a massive stone hand. We believe humans have special qualities that would benefit our people greatly. On the other hand, the Chiroptera, friendly bat-like aliens who had originally been eager to meet humans, now kept their distance. When Marcus tried to approach their table, they quickly made excuses and left. Something's definitely changed, Dr. Kim observed quietly, but I can't figure out what. Their answer came the next morning, when Marcus accidentally overheard a heated argument between several alien ambassadors in a corridor outside their quarters. The human effect is too dangerous, hissed a voice that sounded like the Chiroptera. Delegation leader, my people remember the old stories. When beings like this arrived on other worlds, entire civilizations changed overnight. Changed for the better, in many cases, rumbled the Granite representative. Growth, innovation, progress, these are good things, or chaos, destruction, and the loss of everything we've built. The Chiroptera shot back. The question is not whether the humans have this ability. The question is whether the galaxy can survive it. A third voice, smooth and melodic, probably one of the aquatic species, joined the conversation. The princess's reaction proves what we suspected. If the humans can affect even the emotionally suppressed Zephyrians so strongly, what will they do to species who have not learned such control? Marcus pressed closer to the wall, trying to hear more. The council must decide quickly, the granite representative said. Do we grant the humans membership and accept the changes they will bring? Or do we quarantine them to protect the status quo? Quarantine? The Chiroptera sounded shocked. That seems extreme, is it? Look what happened to Princess Vexara. In just one meeting, she's been in her tower for 3 days, refusing to see anyone. Her own advisors say she speaks of forbidden texts and asks questions that have no safe answers. The voices began to fade as the aliens moved away, but Marcus caught one last chilling exchange. Whatever we decide, we must decide soon. The princess has requested another meeting with the human ambassador. After what happened last time, is she mad? Perhaps. That is exactly what we fear. Marcus stood in the corridor for a long moment, his mind racing. Apparently, humans had some kind of effect on alien species. An effect so powerful that it had the Galactic Council split between embracing change and protecting themselves from it, and Princess Vexara, despite the risk, wanted to see him again. The question was, would the council let that meeting happen? Dr. Kim made her discovery by accident. She had been running routine atmospheric tests on their shuttle when something unusual caught her attention. The readings showed trace amounts of chemicals in the air around the ship, chemicals that hadn't been there when they first landed. Marcus, come look at this, she called from her makeshift laboratory in their quarters. Marcus set down the ancient Zephyrian text he had been struggling to translate and walked over to her workstation. What did you find? Dr. Kim pointed to the glowing display. These readings are from inside our shuttle and around the areas where we've been walking. See these chemical markers? They're not in the normal atmosphere of this planet, so we're polluting their air. Marcus asked, worried. No, nothing like that. These are natural human pheromones, chemicals our bodies produce all the time. On Earth, they're so common we don't even notice them. But here, she pulled up another chart. Look at this. I ran the same test on atmospheric samples from areas where we haven't been. No trace of these chemicals at all. Marcus studied the data. So we're leaving a chemical trail everywhere we go. Not just chemical. Look at this. Dr. Kim switched to another display showing energy readings. Humans also produce very low-level bioelectrical fields. Our brains, our hearts, even our nervous systems create tiny electrical patterns. Again, on Earth, this is completely normal and barely detectable, but in an environment where no other species produces the same patterns, we stand out like a bright light in a dark room. Marcus finished. Exactly. And Marcus, I think I know why this matters. Dr. Kim pulled up a medical file on Zephyrian biology. Remember how their skin changes color with emotions? That's controlled by their nervous system responding to internal chemistry. If human pheromones and bioelectrical fields could somehow interfere with that system, we'd be triggering emotional responses whether we wanted to or not, Marcus said, understanding dawning in his eyes. But that's not all. Dr. Kim looked excited now. I did some research on other species in the council, the ones who are suddenly interested in trade deals with us. They're all listed as having heightened sensory abilities or empathic traits, the ones avoiding us. They have more basic nervous systems that probably aren't affected. Marcus sat down heavily, so everywhere we go, we're accidentally influencing entire species just by existing. It explains everything, Dr. Kim said. Princess Vexara's reaction. The way other aliens are treating us differently, the council's debate about quarantine versus membership. Before they could discuss it further, there was a soft sound at their window. Both humans turned to see a small floating device hovering outside. A blue light flickered on the device, and Princess Vexara's voice came through their room's speakers. Ambassador Chen, her voice was barely above a whisper. I must speak with you, alone. Can you meet me in the archive tower at midnight, please? I need to understand what is happening to me. The device floated away before either human could respond. Should I go? Marcus asked Dr. Kim. It could be dangerous. If the council finds out she's meeting with you secretly, but she asked for help, and maybe she has answers we need to. At midnight, Marcus made his way through the crystal corridors of the palace. His footsteps echoed softly in the empty hallways. The archive tower was in the oldest part of the palace, filled with ancient books and historical records. He found Princess Vexara standing among tall shelves filled with glowing texts. In the dim light, her skin showed a constant, gentle shifting of colors, soft blues and purples that reminded Marcus of ocean waves. You came, she said without turning around. I was not certain you would. You sounded like you needed help, Marcus replied carefully. The princess finally turned to face him, up close. Marcus could see that her usual composed expression was gone, replaced by something that looked almost like wonder. Do you know what these are? She asked, gesturing to the books around them, ancient texts, forbidden histories, records of the time before our people learned to suppress emotion. Her skin shifted to deeper blues as she spoke. For 1,000 years, we have been taught that feelings lead to chaos. That control is the only path to civilization. But these books, they tell a different story. She pulled an ancient volume from the shelf and opened it carefully. The pages glowed with soft light, and symbols appeared in the air above the book. They speak of visitors, she continued, beings from beyond our world who could awaken what we had chosen to forget. The texts called them the Awakening Ones. She looked directly at Marcus. They described creatures who carried the spark of feeling in their very presence, who could remind other species of joys and hopes they had lost. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. And you think humans are these awakening ones? I know. You are. Princess Vexara closed the book and moved closer to him. Since the moment I saw you, I have been experiencing what my people call the forbidden warmth. Feelings we have no words for because we chose to forget them. What kind of feelings? Marcus asked gently. The princess's skin brightened, showing colors that seemed to glow with their own light. Wonder at the beauty of sunrise, curiosity about worlds I have never seen, joy at the sound of music I once thought was simply noise. She paused, her voice becoming very soft, and something else, something that makes me want to know more about you, about your people, about the way you see the universe. Marcus realized he was witnessing something extraordinary. This alien princess was rediscovering emotions that her entire civilization had suppressed for centuries. But there is danger in this awakening, she continued. My advisors grow worried. They speak of calling the healers, of treatments to return me to normal. Some even whisper that I am becoming unfit to rule. And what do you think, princess? Vexara was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was stronger, more determined. I think that a life without wonder is not truly living. I think that my people chose safety over growth, and we have been slowly dying ever since. And I think that you and your species represent something we desperately need. The courage to feel deeply while still thinking clearly. But your people might not see it that way. No, many will see humans as a threat to everything we have built. They will argue that emotional awakening will lead us back to the chaos of the old days. Her skin showed flashes of deeper colors, fear mixed with determination. Tomorrow, the council meets to decide humanity's fate. They will vote on whether to grant you membership or to quarantine your entire species. Marcus felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders again. And what will you tell them? Princess Vexara's skin stabilized into the most beautiful pattern Marcus had ever seen, swirling blues and purples that seemed to dance with light and life. I will tell them the truth, she said, that sometimes the things we fear most are the things we need most, that growth requires risk, that your people offer us not chaos, but the chance to remember who we used to be and who we could become again, even if it costs you your throne. The princess smiled, the first genuine smile Marcus had seen from any Zephyrian. Some things are worth the risk, Ambassador Chen. The question is, are your people ready for the choice they will have to make? As Marcus walked back to his quarters, he wondered what choice she meant, but he had a feeling he would find out very soon. The next morning brought news that made everyone in the palace nervous. The Galactic Council had called an emergency session for that afternoon. Representatives from all 57 member species would vote on humanity's future in the galaxy. Marcus sat in the delegation's quarters, watching Dr. Kim pack their research into secure containers. They had been told to prepare for immediate departure, regardless of the Council's decision. At least we know why this is happening now, Dr. Kim said, sealing another container. The pheromone and bioelectrical field research explains everything. Does it though? Marcus asked. I keep thinking about what Princess Vexara said last night, about humans helping species remember who they used to be. It's more than just chemical reactions, isn't it? Before Dr. Kim could answer, Ambassador Kethril entered with a message tablet. His skin was the palest Marcus had ever seen it. The Council wishes to interview you before the vote, he said formally. They have specific questions about human intentions and capabilities. What kind of questions? Marcus asked. Questions about whether your species understands the effect you have on others. Whether you came here knowing you would change us. Whether this change is something you can control. Kethril paused. The Council is divided. Some species see great opportunity in what humans offer. Others see only danger. Marcus nodded. When do we meet with them? In 1 hour. But Ambassador Chen. Kethril's skin shifted to worried green. Princess Vexara has also requested to address the Council. Before they vote, many are concerned about her state of mind since your arrival. After Kethril left, Marcus turned to Dr. Kim. What if we're wrong about this? What if the effect we have on other species really is dangerous? Dr. Kim looked up from her packing. Marcus, I've been thinking about that too. But look at what's happened to Princess Vexara. Yes, she's changed. But is that change bad? What do you mean? Think about how she was described before we arrived. The ice strategist. A princess known for having no emotions, no creativity, just cold logic. But last night, she showed curiosity, wonder, hope. She was asking questions, seeking knowledge, wanting to grow. Dr. Kim sat down across from Marcus. Maybe the other species aren't afraid of chaos. Maybe they're afraid of change itself. Marcus considered this. You think they've all become too comfortable with staying the same? Look at the evidence. The Zephyrians suppressed emotions for 1,000 years. How much art, music, or innovation do you think they've created in that time? How much have they explored or discovered? Probably not much, Marcus admitted. Exactly. And what about the other species? When was the last time the galactic community made any major advances? When did they last discover something new about the universe or about themselves? Marcus began to understand. You're saying they've traded growth for stability. And now humans show up, and suddenly a Zephyrian princess is reading ancient texts, asking forbidden questions, and experiencing emotions her people haven't felt in centuries. That's not destruction. That's awakening. Their conversation was interrupted by a soft sound at the window. The same floating device from the night before hovered outside, and Princess Vexara's voice came through their speakers. Ambassador Chen, may I speak with you once more before the Council meets? I am in the garden courtyard. Marcus found the princess standing among flowering plants that seemed to glow with their own inner light. Her skin showed patterns he had never seen before, complex swirls of color that changed slowly, like a living painting. You look different, he said gently. I feel different. Each day since we met, I discover new aspects of myself that I never knew existed. She turned to face him, and Marcus was struck by how much more alive she seemed than when they first met. But I also understand now what this means for my people and for yours. The Council is afraid, Marcus said. They should be. Not because humans are dangerous, but because the choice they must make will change everything. The princess moved closer. Marcus, may I ask you something? When you look at me, what do you see? Marcus considered the question carefully. I see someone who is discovering herself. Someone who was told she was strange or unattractive because she was different, but who is actually beautiful because of that difference. The colors on Vexara's skin brightened noticeably. Your people see beauty in diversity. We celebrate it on Earth. We learn that differences make us stronger. Different perspectives, different ideas, different ways of thinking. They help us solve problems and create new things. And my asymmetrical features? My mottled skin patterns? Marcus smiled. They're not flaws. They're signs that you can adapt, that you can change and grow. In human terms, you're not ugly, you're unique. And unique is beautiful. For the first time since he'd known her, Princess Vexara's skin settled into a steady, confident pattern of gold and silver. I understand now, she said. What others see as imperfection, humans see as potential. What my people fear is chaos. You embrace as growth. Exactly. And maybe that's what we can offer the galaxy, not chaos, but the courage to grow. Then we must find a way to communicate this to the council. The princess paused, thinking. Marcus, what if we could create a new form of communication? Something that combines human emotional understanding with Zephyrian logic. What do you mean? My people respond to data and evidence. But since meeting you, I have learned that feelings can also be a form of information. What if we could show the council both the logical benefits of change and the emotional joy of growth? Marcus felt excitement building, like a presentation that appeals to both their minds and their hearts. Yes, we could demonstrate how controlled emotional awakening leads to innovation and progress, not chaos. We could show them historical examples of species that grew stronger through diversity and change. They worked together for the next hour, combining Marcus's understanding of human emotion with Vexara's knowledge of galactic history and logic. They created a presentation that told the story of civilizations across the galaxy, showing how the most successful species were those that embraced change and diversity, while those that chose only safety and control eventually stagnated. There's one more thing, Princess Vexara said as they finished. I must make a choice before the council that will either save my people or destroy my position as their leader. What choice? I must publicly demonstrate what human influence has done to me. I must show them that I have experienced emotional awakening and that I am not only still capable of leadership, but stronger because of it. Marcus understood the risk. If the council sees you as unstable, then they will vote to quarantine humanity to protect other species from the same awakening. But if I can show them that growth and feeling can exist alongside logic and control. She paused. Then perhaps they will choose progress over safety. And if they don't, Princess Vexara's skin showed flashes of determination mixed with hope. Then at least I will have tried to give my people, and yours, the chance to become something greater than they ever imagined possible. As they walked toward the council chambers, Marcus realized that the next few hours would determine not just humanity's place in the galaxy, but the future of growth and change for every species in the galactic community. The question was, would the council choose the unknown possibilities of growth, or the familiar safety of staying exactly as they were? Princess Vexara was about to give them a choice that would change everything. The Grand Council chamber was the largest room Marcus had ever seen. Representatives from 57 different species filled the enormous space, each delegation sitting in sections designed for their specific needs. Some required water tanks, others needed special atmospheric controls, and a few existed as energy beings housed in crystal containers. Marcus sat with Dr. Kim in the human delegation area, watching as council speaker Xenos, a tall, ethereal being made of shifting light, called the session to order. We gather today to decide the fate of the human species, the speaker announced, its voice echoing through universal translators. The question before us is simple. Do we grant humanity membership in our council, or do we declare them a threat requiring quarantine? Murmurs filled the chamber as various species discussed among themselves. Marcus could see the division clearly. Some delegations leaned forward with interest, while others sat back with obvious concern. We will hear first from those who support quarantine, the speaker continued. A chiroptera representative stood up, its bat-like wings folding around its body. Honored colleagues, the evidence is clear. Humans possess an uncontrolled ability to alter the emotional and mental states of other species. Princess Vexara's dramatic change proves this beyond doubt. We cannot risk such unpredictable influence spreading throughout our carefully balanced galactic society. Several species voiced agreement. The Chiroptera continued for thousands of years. Many of our civilizations have chosen stability over chaos. We have built peaceful, orderly societies. The human effect threatens to undo everything we have achieved. More voices joined in support. Marcus felt his heart sink as species after species spoke against humanity, all citing the need for safety and control. Then the speaker called for those supporting human membership. The massive granite collective representative stood, its rocky form towering over the chamber. Honored colleagues, I ask you to consider, when did we last create something truly new? When did we last discover something that changed our understanding of the universe? The chamber grew quieter. For too long, we have chosen safety over growth. Yes, humans triggered change in other species. But is change always bad? My people have studied the historical records. Every great advance in galactic civilization came during periods of change and diversity, not during times of rigid control. A few more species voiced support, but Marcus could see they were outnumbered. We will now hear from Princess Vexara. Of the Zephyrians, the speaker announced. The chamber fell completely silent as Princess Vexara rose from her seat. She wore simple robes instead of her usual royal attire, and her skin showed a steady, confident pattern of colors that seemed to glow with inner light. Honored colleagues, she began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. You have heard arguments about safety versus change, but I ask you to look at me, really look at me, and decide for yourselves. She stepped forward into the center of the chamber, where all could see her clearly. Before the humans arrived, I was known as the ice strategist. I felt nothing, questioned nothing, created nothing. I was considered an effective leader because I never let emotions interfere with logic. Her skin shifted to show gentle waves of color, but I was not truly alive. Gasps echoed through the chamber as delegates saw the beautiful patterns moving across her skin. Since Ambassador Chen arrived, I have experienced wonder for the first time in my life. I have felt joy at the sound of music. I have discovered curiosity about worlds beyond our own. I have learned that my asymmetrical features, which you have all called ugly, are actually signs of my ability to adapt and grow. The colors on her skin became more vibrant, showing patterns that seemed to dance with life and energy. Yes, I have changed, but I have not become chaotic or unstable. Instead, I have learned to combine feeling with thinking, emotion with logic. I am not a weaker leader. I am a stronger one, because I can now understand both the minds and hearts of my people. Princess Vexara turned to look directly at Marcus. The humans did not force this change upon me. They simply showed me that it was possible. They taught me that diversity is strength, that growth requires courage, and that true beauty lies in being uniquely yourself. Her skin settled into the most spectacular pattern Marcus had ever seen, swirls of gold, silver, blue, and purple that seemed to tell a story of transformation and hope. I propose that we grant humanity not just membership, but a special role in our council. Let them serve as emotional ambassadors, guides for species who have forgotten how to balance feeling with thinking, growth with stability, change with wisdom. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some species looked amazed, others worried, but all seemed moved by the princess's transformation. The speaker called for order. The council will now vote. All in favor of granting humanity membership and the role of emotional ambassador. Marcus held his breath as lights began appearing on the voting display. Slowly, more and more species voted in favor. The Granite Collective, several empathic species, and to everyone's surprise, many of the more logical species voted yes. All opposed. Fewer lights appeared this time. Some species still feared change, but many who had been planning to vote against humanity remained silent, abstaining instead of opposing. The motion passes, the speaker announced. Humanity is granted membership in the Galactic Council and the role of emotional ambassador. The chamber filled with cheers from some delegations and worried whispers from others, but Marcus noticed something beautiful happening. species that had never spoken to each other before. We're beginning to talk, curious about what emotional awakening might mean for them. Princess Vexara approached the human delegation. Her skin now showed a steady pattern of warm, welcoming colors. "Now you understand why I blushed when I first saw you," she said to Marcus with a smile. "Those colors my skin showed, they were joy, wonder, and hope. Emotions my people had forgotten how to feel or even name. And now," Marcus asked, "now we have words for them. Human touch joy, growth pattern hope, future song excitement." Her skin brightened with each phrase. "My people are already beginning to ask questions, to feel curiosity about the wider universe." Dr. Kim stepped forward. "What happens next?" Princess Vexara gestured toward the chamber, where delegates from dozens of species were approaching the human section with obvious interest. "Next, you help us remember who we used to be and discover who we can become. Some species will change quickly, others slowly. Some may choose not to change at all, and that is their right. But for the first time in thousands of years, the galaxy has the chance to grow again." Marcus looked around the chamber at the faces and energy patterns and crystal formations of beings from across the galaxy. Some showed excitement, others concern, but all showed something that had been missing before: the possibility of change. "Welcome to the Galactic Council, Ambassador Chen," Princess Vexara said formally. Then she added with warmth that her species hadn't expressed in centuries, "Welcome to our new beginning." As Marcus shook hands, or appendages, or energy fields, with representatives from across the galaxy, he realized that humanity's greatest gift wasn't technology or knowledge. It was the simple courage to feel deeply while thinking clearly, to embrace change while staying true to their values. The galaxy would never be the same, and for the first time in millennia, that was exactly what it needed.